Good morning, everyone. Siki jointly with Francis Xavier Engineering College, welcoming you all to this Tech Connect session today on artificial intelligence. As a beginning, I request Mrs. Shala F. John, Assistant Professor English, Francis Xavier College, to deliver the welcome address, please.
Shala now. Yeah, Shala is still there. Shala, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
A pleasant good morning to everyone. I would like to heartily welcome all the dignitaries, learned professors, and all the students who have joined us for this Tech Connect session 2 on artificial intelligence. I would like to begin my welcome note by submitting a humble note of thanks to God Almighty who has guided us in organizing this event. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. George Koshi, Chair, SICCI Employability Taskmaster and Director, Learning and Development, SIFI Technologies. We are indeed privileged to have him with us in this forum today. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Entrepreneurship is the process of turning every concept into a developed product, and entrepreneurs start new firms and create job opportunities at large. I deem it a great privilege to welcome one such eminent personality, Mr. Gopi Kotishwaran, Chairman, SICCI Entrepreneurship Innovation and Startup Committee, former CEO, Latent View Analytics, and co-founder of Cardiac Wellness Institute. I am glad to welcome you for this forum, sir.
Thank you very much.
I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Swaminathan Ganeshan, co-founder and CEO of Smart Tail Private Limited, an AI-based edutech startup focusing on building solutions using technologies. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Appreciate it.
And as we all know, 2023, we are expecting further advancement in natural language processing, computer vision, and machine learning. So it is a high time for us to get enough knowledge about the booming technology on AI. So it is an honor for us to have Mr. Pratik Chandrayan, co-founder and CEO of Converge AI. We are indeed privileged to have you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I do like to welcome all the other dignitaries, all the faculty members and the students who have joined us online. Welcome you all.
Thank you, Mrs. Shala. She gave a wonderful introduction of all the speakers. I don't know whether I need to introduce everyone separately. Now we move on to the panel discussion. Mr. George Koshi, moderator of this session. He is the Director, Learning and Development of SIFI Technology Limited. He is also a Chair for Employability Committee. Mr. Gopi Kotishwaran, Board Member SICCI, and co-founder and partner Cardiac Wellness Institution and former CEO of Latent View Analytics. I welcome Mr. Pratik Chandrayan, co-founder Converge AI and CEO Promax Digitals. I welcome you, sir. And I welcome Mr. Swaminathan Ganesh, co-founder and CEO of SmartTech. With this introduction, we begin our panel discussion. Over to you, Mr. George Koshi.
Thank you, Bhavani. Thanks a lot. And I'm very, very excited to, I don't know about students on a Saturday morning to come and sit here and listen to us, but then I'm sure that the topic is pretty interesting. So I would like to thank Francis Xavier College, Shala, Professor Shala, and all the panel members, and I'm sure that we're going to have a treat for the ears and for our minds as well. So thank you all. And this panel discussion is all about artificial intelligence. I'm really, really thrilled to have such a distinguished panel with us today. Because one is like, we have a kind of a good mix of speakers. And I'm really looking forward to an engaging and informative conversation with all of you. So I generally start by asking questions are pretty easy, so answering would be very difficult. And so my role is only to ask the most difficult questions. And in the process, I always say that I also keep learning. So it's pretty interesting that way. So let's. I mean, I'm not going to waste time, though. I really want to know more about artificial intelligence. It's a kind of what is that? AI. Speaking.
Yes, no, you can continue, George.
All right.
It's just letting you know somebody's watching you and listening to you.
All right. So it is more of a kind of exciting to see a lot of development in this space, which is the AI space, and also it is terrifying as well, and that is something which I have noticed. I mean, I don't know, it is really, it is getting into the privacy also. Like, you have connected cars these days, and your wives know exactly where you are going. So I don't know. So these are some of the things that which is like really exciting and also terrifying. So let me ask you the first question, which is more in terms of it is open to all. So each the speaker can take 1, 2, or 3 minutes to uh, probably give your insights on AI and how you are kind of involved in it. So the first question is, what are some of the most exciting developments in AI, which is more in terms of application that you have seen? And how do you think that they will impact society on the whole? So that's the first question. Probably each one, because this I wanted to kind of in a macro level, and so probably each one of you can take 2 or 3 minutes and respond to that question. I repeat the question: what are some of the most exciting developments in AI, and that you have seen in the recent years, and how do you think that they will impact the society?
Yeah, maybe I can jump in with my 2 cents to start with.
Yes.
The first, I think, is the rate at which facial recognition has moved in the past few years has been unbelievably high, right? So, George, just to get the facts straight, your wife always knew where you were at every point in time. It's just that now she knows, right? That's about it. So the technology has really not changed your life so much. They always knew what you were doing. So it's abundantly obvious to everyone. They know what you're doing. So the facial recognition is one area where it's dramatically changed things. So irrespective of where you are in the world, what you're doing, you can be traced down to the minute. And obviously, one of the professions badly hit by it is if you're into small-time thefts. Now, now that's not a profession you want to continue with when there are cameras everywhere, right? So it is a challenging one because the cameras are being used everywhere, and the reason I brought that up is because all of us are using it. So I'm seeing my parents using it. Everybody is using facial recognition, and we have taken it for granted right now. And the core of, even a few years ago, I remember identifying a cat was such a big deal, and all of us used to write programs to identify a cat out of all the animals, which is the first program like Hello World in this space. But now the facial recognition has moved forward so fast that it recognizes you with your sunglasses on, with your mask on. I mean, the thing is so good that it's scary sometimes when you see that movement. And the imaging, which is what it's fundamentally showing out, can be very helpful in early diagnosis of health issues, right? So if you have a problem and you don't know about it, it's easy to identify it very early using AI right now, so that you could be given a warning. You could change your lifestyle. You could change some of your habits and live a longer, healthier life. And that's one of the biggest applications on this. But the thing that shocks me the most is how quickly we've all got used to this facial recognition, which seemed like a very difficult technology 10 years ago. It seemed impossible. 5 years ago, it seemed challenging. Now it's like we just take it for granted. It's just totally taken for granted.
Thank you. So facial recognition is it? It is rather. So good. Thank you. Thanks, Gopi. Like, who's next?
Yeah, so I'll add to what Gopi said. Apart from facial recognition, I believe I recently read an article wherein, because of this traffic analytics, which we are seeing even in Nagpur, we have cameras, number plate detection everywhere in every square. So because of that, accidents have reduced. People are, the number of people who were jumping the signals previously have reduced. So because of that, accidents have also reduced. So I think that is really impactful. Number plate detection is another thing. And third, recently I met a couple of climate AI guys in Bay Area when I was in US. So they are doing some really cool stuff. For example, if you are buying a soap, so they are tracking the supply chain of the soap, and they are doing life cycle assessment of each component of supply chain. Are they climate efficient or not? And then they are giving some rating to that soap. You should buy this soap because this soap is climate efficient. So that is also another impactful change which I am seeing, using supply chain data to create climate impact. So I think these two are the things from my side.
That's interesting, Pratik. So it is adding to facial recognition. You talked about graphic detection, and also it helps in climate efficiency as well. That's pretty interesting. And both these things, like facial recognition and Pratik, what you said, also is impacting the society in a very positive way. So nothing to worry about there. All right, over to Swami. Swami, you're on mute, I believe.
Yeah, you're on mute. For some reason, we still can't hear you.
AI cannot detect that though, but
I can give the voiceover, pretend that he's saying it. Maybe we'll come back to it as he sorts it out.
all right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
Yeah, there
this
he
is
is. Yeah.
this is not me. This is not me. This is all to your moderators. They have muted me and said, "Okay, you cannot talk," and so it's all going to be Gopi and
this
Pratik,
is something.
right?
This is something that you have to do, because you please don't unmute yourself, because if you unmute you cannot. Sorry, please don't mute yourself. You cannot unmute back.
Oh, really? No. So
Yeah.
I'm in a little noisy environment. That's the reason why when somebody else is talking, I'm muting myself. So maybe I need some help. So that's the only reason. Okay, excellent. So coming back to the question, I think I'll take a little, maybe a little rewinded view. What has happened in the artificial intelligence in the past, say 3 or 4 years? If you want to just take a look back at history, what happened, say 25 years before in the field of, say, UI development or in terms of backend development? Initial days, we were all, the basic code that you write is all C, or you go back one level back and start writing processor codes. Then you had a lot of layers that actually came on top. Then we started calling it Java, we started calling it Ruby, we started calling it Perl, so on and so forth. These were layers which were written on top of your core fundamental of how you access into the motherboard and do the programming, right? So now a lot of people got trained, and then that's where the IT boom came in and so on and so forth. What we are seeing right now is a similar kind of a boom, where in the past 5 years, there is a lot of democratization with respect to developing these models. The machine learning and deep learning models is now democratized. TensorFlow was all very closed 5 years back. Now they've opened up a lot of features that I mean, you can be a user, you can go and download it, you can use it, you can go and deploy it, so on and so forth. Same has happened with PyTorch. Same has happened with so many different cases. Now, out of this, what is really happening is there are some big companies which have a lot of data that is actually bringing out new features, especially like what Gopi and Pratik said. There is a lot of image analysis, video analysis, gate analysis, so on and so forth, that is being done in huge amount of data. But one region which is really taken off is NLP, so natural language processing. So if you really see what has happened, I mean, we all know ChatGPT. I don't want to market ChatGPT again here, but nevertheless, not only in just in English, but various different languages, the different components and the different features that you can actually build out using NLP has really strengthened the domain. And then I feel that that's there to stay, and then there's going to be a lot of changes that's going to actually come through. And as young engineers, one piece of thing is that don't go by the models that has been created already. You can go and write your C. So that's more key. There's a lot of ready-made available stuff, but in reality, if we have, say for instance, how do I say? If you can start from scratch on something, that will be really wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Swami. So you talked about getting into fundamentals is very, very important, is what you're saying. That's interesting. And then you pointed out on ChatGPT, and I mean, like you said, I mean, we're not going to advertise ChatGPT, but however, I'm again, like I said, I'm threatened in one way, because I was thinking, like, can ChatGPT run this entire webinar? That's one question. So I actually did go to ChatGPT and yesterday kind of posted this question. I'm doing this AI webinar panel discussion. Can you help me with it? And believe me, it gave me some questions, but that's pretty interesting though. So is it, this is something that I always wonder, is it reducing the effort of thinking for human beings? Because if everything is going to be provided by the artificial intelligence, the effort of thinking by people, especially students, the student community that is listening, would they lose the thinking ability? A lot of thinking that we have to do, strategic thinking, critical thinking, then you have to lateral thinking, creativity, a lot of things that could miss. So my question to all of you, I mean, though, because this is also kind of an open question that I would want to ask, is AI an opportunity or a threat? What is your take on that?
Just looking around because I could jump in, but I'm just saying it's Swami.
I'll pick it up.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do a reverse Robin.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So is this an opportunity or a threat? See, for that matter, anything is an opportunity or a threat. I'm sorry, Pratik, but as a Tamil saying goes, right? அளவுக்கு மீறினால் அமிர்தமும் நஞ்சு. So in a sense that even if you take amrit, if you take it in large quantity, that also becomes poison. So there is a limit for everything. So the threat will always be there. The threat was there with when internet opened up. The threat was there when you had mobile phones. The threat was there when you didn't have mobile phones. So that component is always going to be there. So now, how you evolve with AI is something which is very, very important, and the opportunity is abundant in the sense there are so many mundane things that we could actually automate. There are so many mundane things that we do every single day that AI could help and optimize us and make us better. See, the main goal is how can we create global citizens who are self-aware and who do the right thing, right? Any tool, whether it's AI or BA or CA or DI, if any tool is going to help us in achieving that, then that's an opportunity for us, and we should grab it with both our hands. So if the question is binary, I'm all for one, saying it's a brilliant opportunity, just that you have to take it properly. So yeah, thank you. Over to you, Gopi.
So, in fact, I was thinking when you were saying, both exist, with all technology, both existed. But then it is always the opportunities are higher because you can overcome the threats with the AI again. So that's what I was thinking. All right.
Pratik, shall I go? Is it okay?
Sir, I'll go.
Go,
So
please, go, Pratik.
I believe, AI is a tool. It depends. The tool is in whose hand. For example, if you are giving gun to policeman, then it's good. But if you are giving gun to thief, then it might be bad. So AI is just a tool. It depends on who is using it. So the question should be, are humans opportunities or threat? Instead of, is AI an opportunity or threat? So I believe, like Swami said, I'm all for one. AI as a tool is an opportunity for betterment of human society.
Okay.
Super. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to take a slightly long-winded route on this. So I'm going to ask the questions to the students, right? So, George, you can also answer this. What is 15 times 17? 255. right? I calculated it because I'll tell you how I calculated, because I come from the old school of thinking. Pre-calculator, I was allowed to take logbooks to the school, but no calculator. So for the way I look at this is 15 is 16 minus 1 and 17 is 16 plus 1. And you have this 16 squared minus 1, which is 256 minus 1, 255. So I do this mentally. Will this skill be lost in the next generation? Yes. Is it really a necessary skill? Probably not. I mean, if I take my phone and do it, or any device is going to tell you what is 15 times 17. You don't really need to use your brain skills to calculate that, right? And the same questions were asked when calculators were introduced in schools or colleges, or I don't know where you're allowed to use it, or where computers were introduced, saying that, will the human brain lose the capability to do these things? Yeah. Some of these things, the human brain will lose the capability, or it will take 20 seconds to find out what this multiplication is, but it might not even be necessary for the human brains to do this part of it in the future, because you are being assisted by technology which will cover. So similarly, if you have ChatGPT, then your brain should be smart enough to figure out which elements need to be double checked, triple checked, and which other ones, because if it throws out a diagnosis and you're the healthcare expert and you're looking at the patient, then your expertise is still at the fundamental level still needed for you to really provide a solution. And you should be smart enough to be able to assess some of these and look at it in a particular way. So the human brain still will be a significant part. It will be assisted better. People who can live with it and learn this faster will be able to operate much better. It's not a great strategy to hide from it. That's the only thing. So if there's a calculator available, if you learn how to use the calculator, you can think about bigger things and better things using that. But so is it a threat? In the short term, it appears like a threat, but the human beings will evolve, figure out how to use this and create better and more useful things for society as we move forward. So I always see this as a huge opportunity, but we need to be, as youngsters, the students there, you need to be on top of this technology and be ahead of the curve, and you should be dictating, like Pratik was pointing out, you should be showing the positives of this and making sure society benefits from this in a big way.
Thanks, Gopi. In fact, I was, to add to what you said, my son came with his exam papers yesterday, and one of the papers said, you have very untidy handwriting. So my son was asking, do we need to even write in future? That's a question. I don't know, because nowadays people have started typing and things like that. The skills are changing. So, but it's a thing to worry also, because parents like us, we always believe that you need to have a very good handwriting and things like that. But kids these days, they might be thinking, hey, I don't need to write at all, right? So why do I need to write? And
So George, can I jump in? This is my domain.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So first thing is that what SmartTail does is SmartTail grades the answer papers of students using artificial intelligence.
Okay.
So I'm right in the alley kind of there, and I can throw a couple of points on what is the opportunity that is actually coming up, right? Gopi spoke a lot about rote learning in the sense, do you need to memorize things? Do you need to know methodologies? Do you need to know this? See, we have a very confused approach with respect to rote learning. We think everything in the memory, everything, even a trick is rote. So you should go blank like a slate, and then everything will come to you, and you will be like, suddenly you will become Buddha and abbe jnana vandrum. It doesn't happen that way, right? You have to have your basic essential skills with respect to how you're going to do it. Now, with respect to how grading is evolving in India, so the national curriculum, the new NEP 2020, the education policy as such, it has come up with the NCF. NCF is the National Curriculum Framework. So in the curriculum framework, if you just go and open and see how it is, there is no importance given to marks. Now the importance to marks is now changing, where every kid will be graded with respect to a particular topic, whether he knows it, he understands it, he is good at it or he is a master. Has he mastered the concept? This is what is going to come. So the mark is not going to be any importance to anyone. That's number one. Now, is pen and paper the only method to actually understand this, learn this, so on and so forth? It is not. Very soon, even we are working on it. Can we grade videos? So if we can record this and then upload it somewhere, and can it grade and tell you, okay, how good did Swami speak? How many grammatical errors did he make? How many out of context did he go? Blah blah blah, so on and so forth, and then give out an analysis back to the teacher, which a human cannot. Is something which is very brilliant, and this is the future. This is going to come very soon, and where the pen and paper methodology is not going to go out completely, but it's going to minimize quite a bit. So that's number two. Number three is with regard to bad handwriting. There is a lot of neurological connection between the writing skills and our brain. So beyond just asking kids to write pages and pages of homework, but there is something when you write down, right? When you write down, you are more involved in it, and there has been innumerable scientific reports on how and why we should write and what we should write. So there's a lot of tons of information that is actually available. So it's kind of, since you brought correction and kid and answer paper, so I jumped in. So point is, it's going to stay for some more time. The level is going to reduce. There is going to be a lot of AI that's going to play. Different companies are going to come. Different even governments are going to come. For all the kids, all the college students over here, there is something called as NAEP, National Assessment of Education Progress. This is not in India. This is in the US. So you can go and see, they throw up challenges. So they throw up challenges saying, can you do AI grading of handwritten answer papers? And they are launching the new challenge, which is grading of mathematical answer papers. Okay. Not just the English, mathematical. This is launching now. On April 27th is the last date. Unfortunately, we from India cannot apply because they have a security compliance. You have to be in US to apply. But if we want to piggyback on Gopi, then we can probably do that and still apply and get it done, right? So I'm saying that's quite possible. It's very interesting domain to look at.
So just to take, probably carry forward with that thought of yours, Swami, like one question, and especially this will be very interesting for the students. Because they are here to listen to some of the specific skills that they need to acquire and develop so that they become AI engineers. So what are those skills, especially right from the college days, if they need to acquire and develop, what are those skills that they need to look for, and tools and skills so that they become AI kind of engineers in future? What are they?
I'll take this. I'll talk about the skill. I will leave Pratik to talk about the tools. He's the expert, and Gopi again will, I don't know, whatever he will cover, right? Because if I let Gopi talk, he's going to take all the points away. So that's the reason why I'm jumping in right now. So I think the most underrated word or the most important word that we all think is the skill that we have or we don't have is common sense. So I don't know why we call it common sense, because it's so very rare these days. So if there can be a person who can actually think and come back with a solution and have a plan, have a strategizing in mind. Okay, this is the problem. This is how I'm going to solve it. A, B, C, D. This is my approach. You may be right. You may be wrong. So this is the first most important skill. You cannot be like, okay, you tell me whether it's right or wrong. You tell me whether what is that I should do. Should I take the pencil and key? I'll go and take the pencil and key. That's not something which we are looking at work, right? If we tell, hey, this is a problem I want to solve, you have to go, break your hand, search. You have all the information available in the world on your phone. Come back with saying, this is my approach. Tell me whether it's good to take, whether it's a risk, whether it's not a risk. So and there will be advices that will actually given. But take the first effort comes from the student or from the the person who is actually joining in the company. So we look forward for that skill. Are you coming out with solutions? That's the first thing that we do in an interview, even for a fresher. Number one. Number two, communication. So kindly communicate. So a lot of times I hear yes sir, yes, okay, definitely I will try. So these are the only words we actually get mostly from whenever we talk to freshers, or whenever we talk to even some of the senior engineers, 2-3 years engineers as well. But there are 100 things that's going on in your mind with respect to why it won't work, and what is the doubts, the understanding that is actually there. So the skill is to summarize your understanding. If I'm explaining you a problem, the first skill that we expect is, can you summarize what is that I explained to you? So you should say, hey Swami, stop. Let me first summarize what I understood from the half-an-hour lecture that you gave me. You are asking me to do A, B, C along with D and E, but take care of E and F. This is what you're asking, or is there anything else that I'm missing? So now what this gives me is the confidence that yes, you have understood the problem. So these two skills, and say it's okay to say no, I don't know. It's not a bad word. And we are not going to take offense saying that, oh, you don't know this, okay, get out of the company. That's not going to happen. Okay, if someone says no, I don't know, we know that you don't know, because otherwise whoever is working with you will assume that you know it and you're going to deliver it. So it's nothing harm in saying I don't know. If you say I don't know, you will get help. So so it's okay to say I don't know, but if you say only I don't know, that's going to be your problem. Okay, so both of that is very, very important. So these three skills, I'll stop here. I mean, there are a few more I can add on, but these three skills, these are skills. These has to be worked on. This has to be practiced. Unconsciously, you will be incompetent. So you have to climb the competency ladder. First understand this is unconsciously incompetent, then you become consciously incompetent, then you become consciously competent, and then you become unconsciously competent. So if you don't know this layer of how you can climb this, competency ladder, please ask your professors.
Thanks,
or you can ping me in LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thanks, Swami. In fact, you talked about the 2 C's. One, common sense should prevail, and also on communication. Communication, you actually spoke on, not to speak in monosyllables, and that's what I really echo with what Swami says. Most of the freshers these days, they say that most of the responses come in one words, yes, no, maybe. And the word only one word they respond. So that is very, very important to speak. And also to say no, to be assertive, to be a critical thinker. I think all the C's are coming. So, I mean, good. Okay, over to Gopi
Pratik's the man of this.
Yeah. So one of the skills which I wanted to tell people was communication, which was covered by Swami. So that's great. Second, before technical skill, I think we don't ask questions. So asking right questions is also a skill. India is losing business to Ukraine and Eastern Europe because in their education system, they have been asked to ask questions. Unfortunately, in our education system, if somebody is asking a lot of questions, then, you just shut him or her up. So that's very unfortunate. So asking right question is a skill in itself. So you should know how to ask right question, where to ask right question, what questions to ask. And for that, you will have to study that domain. Just coming and asking some stupid questions is not going to help anybody. So for that reason, you need to study that domain and come up with good questions. That is a non-technical skill. On technical side, it is very easy. If you want to build your career in data science and data engineering, Python is the go-to language nowadays. So you should know Python and the toolkits like NLTK, Matplotlib, all the frameworks of Python. Along with that, there are many good open source model. You can get them on Kaggle.com as well. So you go through those models. But again, Kaggle is it's a practice tool. You don't see, because all the answers to Kaggle is available on Stack Overflow or GitHub. So you don't use Kaggle as a right thing. You download the data, think, ask questions to the data, and then use your own approach to solve the problem. Don't go to Stack Overflow and GitHub and just copy paste the code and do it. So that is second thing. And third thing is, if you want to be a good data engineer, which is very important. Now everybody wants to develop model, but modeling or AI modeling is just 5 to 10% of the project, or maybe less. Maximum 90 to 95% of the work in any project is data engineering, and everybody should know about it. So for data engineering, you should go to, you should learn ML flow. If you can do some courses of Databricks or Snowflake, that is also good. So I believe Python, and for next 2 to 3 years, Databricks and Snowflake, these two are very important tools.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Pradeep. Though the names of all these tools are pretty interesting. I don't know, Google, Candle, Handle, I don't know, and just snowflakes. I don't know why they're.
Hey, these are all multi-billion-dollar businesses. I mean,
I know.
George. So, and there is a context for all of these names. So if you, the snowflakes is basically how the old people were making fun of the youngsters, saying they're not strong enough. They're like snowflakes. They're entitled and all this. These guys came back with saying, so be it, we'll create a multi-billion-dollar firm with snowflakes and you guys will buy my shares, right? So that's the context. Thanks for, I think the skill sets as well as some of the tools that it is a tough field. So let's not be, so like Pratik was, when you heard Pratik, you can clearly see that he's on top of what's going on and in terms of tools and all of this. And I know that their company, Converge AI, builds AI engines for startups in the Bay Area, right? So the startups in the Bay Area are the most nimble folks, and these guys build AI engines for them. So, so fundamentally, you need to believe that you can make a difference. That's the starting point. It's not about there's a big world with lots of knowledge, and you're here to gain this knowledge. So you have to start by saying, I'm going to contribute significantly to the world. And with that, you have to ask the right questions of where are the gaps, what's happening. And you should be honest enough, as Swami said, that when you don't know something, you raise your hand and say, I don't know something. And then you have to demonstrate within a short period of time, a week, few days, or a few months, depending on the topic that you do not know, that you've learned a lot and you've put in the efforts to learn about it. And that's what people are looking for, right? And that Pratik was alluding to it, but it's the confidence you have that to ask a question, you need to have confidence. So you need to feel that you're going to make it. The only reason we recruit people is so that they will improve our company, right? Not so that they'll follow the rules of the company. I mean, it'll be great if you can also follow the rules of the company, but more importantly, we want you to improve the company. Like when Pratik's going and providing services to a startup in the US, the US company expects him to add value to them, right? So he has to go on with the point of view that you guys are doing something great, but I can make it even better, right? So that's the starting point and that's the point of view that you have to develop, and for which it's a fundamental thing. You cannot go to your uncle or dad or whatever, your peers, and say, what should I do next? Can you advise me? No, those days are gone, right? So you have to develop a point of view of what you want to do. And your questions to them would be, what are the pitfalls in this area? What are the things that can be improved in this? What can be improved in that? And your mindset has to fundamentally you should start developing self-belief, right? And understanding concepts. And you should believe that you're going to contribute to that place, in which case the kind of questions you ask, the kind of things that you ask would also be different. And I'm not saying anything new to what Swami and Pratik said, but fundamentally, you've got to believe that you are the generation, you are the individuals that are going to drive this AI into the world, right? If you believe that, then the kind of questions you would be asking, the kind of things that you'd be doing would be order of magnitude different from, can you help me learn this? No, that's not the question. You have to learn this on your own using all the tools that are available. But the question that you're asking is, you are good, but I can make you better. That's the spirit with which you have to approach these things. And what Swami and Pratik are not saying is this is what they do on a day-to-day basis. And Swami saying, I'm going to improve the educational system, right? That's where he's starting. And whatever the tracking is happening, he's looking at the fundamentally, they believe that they can make the world a better place. And that has to start from within you. And I'm fairly confident with where you are, you can do that. Each one of us has the capability to do that. And when you think of it that way, then the resources around you, the company, the managers, everybody supports you in this journey. Everybody wants to see success, right? If you bring some new tool into a company, if you make Snowflakes into a great company, then everybody would like to see that happen. And so you will get a lot of support, but the belief has to be within you. We should stop looking at what the next person's doing, what are they doing, and how are they, because the world is changing. So you have to develop points of views on yourself, saying, what is it that I like to do? 5 years down the line, what should I be doing? And then work backwards. So you should develop your own points of views. And just because whatever your class topper is doing something, there's no necessity for you to do the same thing. You can do something different and be successful on your own. And George, probably it's a, since Swami and Pratik have alluded to the specific skills, I'm saying we need to have that self-belief, and which is what Pratik was alluding to. Ukraine is asking this, and those guys are doing this, and the concepts, people have stopped giving marks and they're doing conceptual looking at it. I know that Columbia University last week or 2 weeks ago declared they're not going to look at SAT scores for admission. So this is a movement that's happening across the globe. But how do we survive in this kind of a world? You have to really believe in yourself. The self-belief is the starting point. And if you believe you will be an expert in AI 5 years down the line, Swami, Pratik, and myself will come searching for you and say, can you help us in with our companies to grow it, right? So that's the thing that you should be in. And there is no substitute for hard work on this, right? So you have, every time Pratik goes and meets the client, he's got to be one step ahead of the client, which means while he's flying, he's not sitting and watching movies. He's reading up on all the new technologies that have come up, because otherwise, you will get beaten up in the meeting, right? So you have to, there's no substitute for hard work here. You have to put in the hours. And what college teaches you is 5% of what you need to learn. So, you've got a good foundation, good college. They're giving you whatever, you have a peer group, but 95% of what you're learning should be your efforts. All the Kaggle he mentioned, Swami spoke about Kaggle in our previous conversation. So all of these things are just basics. They're not even the end game. They're just the basics. I would urge you to work really hard, learn all the tools. Don't worry about whether this is a threat or an opportunity. Be the expert. Push yourself, be the expert. Sorry, Josh, that took a bit longer, but I really believe the youngsters should lead this and we guys should follow, right? I mean, that's how I look at it.
Absolutely, Gopi. In fact, thanks for pointing out all these, the much needed skills these days. In fact, all the students who are really listening to us, you heard them say that, to ask the right questions, ask questions. And here is an opportunity to ask the questions as well. Probably you can put your questions on the chat window, and probably you can ask any of the panel speakers to respond to those questions as well. So while you actually probably think about, gather your thoughts and ask questions, I was thinking, Gopi, Swami, and Pratik talked about tool sets and skill sets and tool sets. I've seen electrical engineers, when they need to change a switch at home, they call electricians. I was wondering, they have the skill sets, they have the tool sets. The problem is they don't have the mindset to actually roll up their sleeves and go and just work. I think all the three are very important: tool sets, skill sets, and the mindset. And that's exactly what Gopi was talking about at the end. There is no substitute for hard work. Well, I was saying that now you are actually leaving everything to AI. The decisions are taken by the AI. So my question to I don't know whom to ask now. Probably you can decide on this. With the increasing use of AI, especially in decision making, what measures should I take or should be taken to ensure that AI systems are transparent and fair? And when I say it shouldn't be biased. What are some of the measures that has to be taken for AI to be so unbiased? This is my question. Yeah. Who would want to take that?
So I'll start. So first of all, I am not saying, to be honest, that in critical decision making we are depending on AI. Most of the systems which even we are developing, which are going into banking or healthcare or any other regulated industry, there is always human in the loop. So we are just doing assisted diagnostics, or assisted decision making, but AI is not making any decision whole and soul. There is always human in the loop, so that is a good thing, I would say. So that is part number one. And second part is, uh,
Sorry to interrupt, Pratik. How about AI-driven cars? Like, you don't have a driver there at all.
so Tesla, you cannot drive Tesla without holding the wheel. If you're not holding the wheel in Tesla, then it is illegal. Police can catch you in US.
Okay.
So although Tesla is auto driving car, you have to hold the steering. Not wheel, steering of the car.
Okay.
At every 1 minute, I think you have to hold it for 10 second, 20 second, or something like that. And mind well, that thing drives well on highways, but when there are smaller roads, if you have, I don't know if you're sat in Tesla, but it gives you beep, hold the steering, hold the steering, hold the steering. So that is a beep which constantly Tesla gives you when you sit in Tesla on smaller roads in US. So that is also human assisted driving. That is not pure play autonomous driving.
Okay.
So, and part number two, how shall we reduce the biases? So, of course, when you train any AI model, you need to take all the data into consideration. You cannot have just, I mean, because AI is just, it all depends on how you train the model, right? So, to reduce the biases, you need a lot of unbiased data to be fed into model development. So that is, I think, the only solution as of yet I can see. But part one is very important, that we are, as of yet, I'm not seeing any system at scale, especially in regulated industries, that they are completely dependent on AI.
Okay. Thanks, Pratik. Anybody else who would want to add to this, like in terms of the decision making and how can you actually reduce the bias of AI?
See, okay, I'll take up Gopi.
Yeah, go ahead, Swami.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, see, I mean, very glad that we're talking about this, because this is one of the most important points. There's a lot of talk about ethical AI. So, in the sense where it's being used, like Pratik mentioned a while ago, like if AI is a tool and then if AI is being given into it's a gun and then it's being used by the policeman or by a thief or a robber or whoever it is, right? It can still be very, very harmful. So, ethical AI policies and are something which has been started, or which has been, Tamil Nadu is the first government to even come up with an ethical AI policy. If you go and see the draft in the government website, they have around 10 pages where they talk about how you should use, what is the norms, what is that you bring on to the table, what you should not, so on and so forth. Now, the utilization is, again, with respect to how the people are, what's the mindset, why are they using the tool, all of that. The next thing is the bias. The bias comes from data. Bias is introduced by not understanding the data. So before you become a data scientist, you have to become a data collector and a domain expert. In the sense, if you want to become a healthcare, if you want to go into healthcare and then become say join Gopi and then help his company double his revenue or whatever it is by bringing a new technology, you have to study the domain of healthcare for quite some time. And and healthcare is a very, very vast domain. Every single specialization is a subject in itself. If you go to diabetologist, it's different. If you go to an eye specialist, it's different. If you go to the guy who fixes your bones, it's different. So it's such a vast domain. So unless and until we really go and understand the data, understand the domain really well. You can't create unbiased AI because you don't know the parameters of where bias is even getting introduced. So this is very, very critical. Whether it's image training, whether it's whatever training that you actually do, please do not take Kaggle data to learn your Hello World program in machine learning. Please do not take any data from Kaggle. If you are planning to, please drop that idea. Even if you can go and stand in the road, go and collect data from the common public, pick that data out, clean that, transform that, load that, and then train that, your learning is going to be 10x. So we are not looking at 10 models that you have created, which all Kaggle data have you downloaded? Do you know, even if you have done 100 model with 100 inputs, but do you know really what's the meaning of those each and every parameters that you have actually configured? That's the interest that is actually there for us. And if you get that interest, then the bias is going to automatically go away, and you will identify the bias, saying, "Oh, I am introducing a bias here, consciously or unconsciously." So that's the way I look at ethical AI. Ethical AI is very, very key. Any tool that is getting developed has to pay a lot of attention to it, and bias will automatically be controlled. I don't think it'll ever go away, but it'll be very, very insignificant, so that we don't need to worry about it.
So I think we've got some questions from the students.
Yeah, I saw that. Can I take those, George?
Yes.
No, the first one is.
Yeah, go ahead and read the question and probably
the first one is, as discussed in the first round with all facial recognition, camera monitoring, will the privacy of humans be at stake? Yes, it is at stake, right?
It's already at stake.
George knows, wife knows what he's doing. So the question is, what can we do to mitigate it? That's the question. So the governments in Europe are, if you see the data policy of Europe, it's much more stricter. So when you, in India, it's all over the place. If you go and buy something, they ask you for a mobile number. And I always ask, why do you want my mobile number for any of this? But it's a problem, and we have to be conscious and make sure we are not putting up things that are not relevant up there in the web, and we have to come up with policies which make sure that that I cannot show photos of people without getting their explicit permission, and so on and so forth. So there is it's an ethical framework. We have to, if we leave it as it is, privacy is totally at stake, and we have to figure out how to deal with it. And it's not easy. So every time a new technology comes, we have to figure out, but it's a human problem and not a technology problem.
Can we skip to the third question? It's interesting. We'll come to the second question. Will AI replace manpower as it's replacing most of the human job?
Yeah. Swami, go ahead.
Yeah. So see, let's assume, what is this manpower, right? Are you talking about white collared? Are you talking about blue collared? Are you talking about green collar job? What? It's a lot of significance, right? For example, if it's going to if it is going to replace all the Swiggy jobs in the next 5 years, yes, it will. Okay, so there will be no Swiggy delivery boys on the road. It will all be drones. So it will do it. But will it replace Gopi or Swami? It can't. So very simple,
Pratik, yes.
right? So yeah, no. I mean,
No,
when
just
I say,
kidding. Sorry.
Pratik, I missed you only by mistake. I know Gopi got on top of this, but yeah. So see, for instance, if you go to Tanjavur today, if you spend a couple of days in Tanjavur and then go around the fields, drones are being used for, I think, for the spraying of pesticides or spraying of some chemicals or organic chemical or inorganic chemical, whatever it is, right? And this is being done by government of Tamil Nadu, very specifically done by government of Tamil Nadu. And if you have seen the interviews, or you can even talk to a farmer over there, he is so happy that the drone did 1 acre work in about 45 minutes. And I think it was an experiment, so he didn't pay anything from his pocket. But even if he had to pay something from the pocket, it's still less than having 5 finding out the 5 human labor who are strict and who can evenly distribute this, all of these things, right? So this is going to replace this hard labor work is going to be replaced by AI assisted tools, machineries, and that's, it's not just AI, it's anything, right? Industrial revolution has done that. So in 1854 there was a survey done in New York. What is going to be the biggest challenge that we will face in the next 10 years? I think 1854 or 1830, forget about the year, but the concept is they did a survey. The survey analysis was that we will have a big problem of horse shit, because New York was growing and there were so many number of carriages, horse-driven carriages. We didn't have cars then, right? And they predicted that they're going to have a big problem of horse shit to manage. So they started planning where all we should have this collection facility and disposing of this and all those things. And then they did the planning. I think they spent some amount of money in planning and doing some work for that. And then automobiles came in, right? So now all the horse carriage drivers are so sad that they lost their jobs, right? So this is how it will evolve. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, yes, it's very simple. Even for a doctor is a threat if he doesn't use AI in the next 5 years. So AI assisted or a doctor who uses AI will replace a doctor who does not use AI. As simple as that. I mean, I'm just picking up a doctor, but the same goes for a teacher. If there's a teacher who uses a AI assisted tool for understanding her students, will be able to impart better education than a teacher who's still doing the chalk and board method. So as simple as that.
I'm still a kind of a traditional teacher, educator. I still believe in chalk and talk, but I also work with intelligent as well. Any which ways, like
your job is
and a threat. But then the Swami, the chalk and talk can be done using AI only, right? In terms of you have various
no. What I'm meaning is, for example, there are a lot of, at the end of the day, the core essence, what is the essence of that particular teacher is to impart education, is to ensure that the child is getting educated. That's the only method, right? So now what I mean is, if there is a teacher who's a very experimental teacher who takes you out on a field trip to explain about photosynthesis and explain about ABC, whatever it is, forget even AI, right? So, and now there is a report that is submitted, there is somebody who's analyzing, knows who's weak, all of that analysis is being done. Now, as a single individual teacher, how much can she do? She can't. So there needs to be some tools which will help her put them in buckets and then give them the analysis, right? So if there is a teacher who doesn't use this, there'll be another teacher who's a brilliant teacher. I'm not taking away the quality of the teacher or the quality of the person who's actually doing it. They're very brilliant, but they're not as efficient as the other teacher who's actually using it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Very good, very good. Let's take the third question again, because probably this can. Do we have more time, Bhavani, or are we going to? Because time is already 12:05. Till what time are we?
We have time, sir. Maybe if a few more questions students wants to ask, they can ask.
All right. Okay. So the one more question that is. Because all of you are industrialists, suggesting how to enhance self-awareness.
What I'll do, George, since I have to get out, I will have a shot at this answer and then say goodbye to you guys at the post for the end of it. Okay. So it's a fairly good question, because I think from a leadership perspective, it is evolving that self-awareness is probably one of those really most important things that leaders need to have to take the organization forward. So when we look at CEOs and when we're recruiting people of that nature, then self-awareness becomes a really important topic. And it's something that you develop over a period of time consciously. So so why do you do things that you do? So there's a different levels of self-awareness. The deepest self-awareness comes over a period of time through self-inquiry and you asking about yourself. How do you define success and why do you define it that way? Do you want to see smiles on your parents' face? Is that the success for you? So asking deeper questions and figuring out why you're doing things of that nature. But in general, the simplest thing to do to increase self-awareness is every time you have a conversation with another human being or another group of people, to end it with a simple open-ended question saying, hey, thank you for spending time with me. That was very nice. What were the things, whether things about this conversation that you liked, and whether things about this conversation that did not go as per your wish, and what are the things that we could do differently next time we have a conversation. If you have this discipline of asking this every time you meet an individual, just in your own words, you don't need to phrase it this way, you could ask it. People will tell you that they may just tell me that you looked in that direction when you spoke to me, and I wasn't sure whether you were talking to me. As simple as that. And then you look at it and you might study it and say, when you're thinking about abstract ideas, you have a tendency to look somewhere instead of looking at the person in front of you. And then you don't need to change it. You could change it. It's up to you. But at least you're aware now that you have a tendency to do that, right? So the self-awareness on multiple levels are your friends, family, friends, these are the people. But you have to create an environment where it is friendly to share this information. It shouldn't. The problem happens when somebody comes and slaps you and tells you, I don't like the way you do it. And then you start building resistance and you stop taking feedback, right? So you have to figure out a way of smartly asking these questions to friends, and also making it very, very fun and cool to do this rather than making it too serious and painful, right? So, increasing self-awareness is a journey, right? So it's at every stage, you need to push your agenda, but you should also understand the impact you're having on the people around you. And then you have to figure out what's the right thing for you and your organization at that stage. But most great leaders I have interacted with have unbelievable self-awareness. That doesn't stop them from doing the things that they do. They'll still push their way through, get stuff done, but they know they're disturbing the whole organization. They know that they're disturbing, and they know what is the impact they are having, and so on. So it's a journey, and what we need to do is 6 months down the line, my self-awareness of myself should be better than what it is today. That's the kind of objectives that I should have for myself, and not aim to become completely different in a short period of time.
Hey, thanks, Gopi. In fact, I mean, Gopi's mantra is right, and I totally believe in that. Gopi's mantra is seek feedback for better self-awareness, and I totally agree to that. You know, you got to seek feedback so that you get to understand yourself more and more. And many times you don't even have the awareness of what you do. Absolutely true. So just Gopi, just one question, and then because this is something which is more probably it will be applicable for you in terms of the application of AI, and especially in the healthcare industry. Probably others can talk about other industries. So since you are in the healthcare, there's quick words on what are some of the application of AI that you are working on.
Yeah, so the one big element where AI is helping is early diagnosis of health conditions, right? So when you look at an ECG or any complex level of data, and there are 5 or 6 different pieces of data that you're looking at, the pattern recognition. So let's say if you have a doctor with 40 years of experience, right, and who looks at it, and they can figure out certain things which I might not be able to catch. The same level of assistance a graduate medical student can get using AI. The AI will capture most of it. It's not going to be 100% correct, but it can capture the patterns to 90 to 95%. So as I graduate from medical school, then I gain the same level of experience that somebody with 40, 50 years of experience was able to detect. AI can help me with that. So that's helping me find rare diseases using existing tools. But I'm also seeing there's a company called Niramai, which is Bangalore based. I was very impressed with them because breast cancer is one of the biggest problems, and early detection. The process for identifying breast cancer is something that people don't want to go through, right? So so they came up with an alternative thermal imaging that can identify breast cancer using thermal imaging, which is fairly simple. You know, you don't need to do anything. It's just they take an image and can you identify it? So alternative ways of identifying it. The doctor said, no, it wouldn't work, but I think FDA has approved it recently. So I haven't spoken to the founder post that, but I just found out that the FDA has approved it. So here's an Indian entrepreneur saying, this is a problem that our people are facing, or global, everybody who is facing it. And they found an alternative way of identifying breast cancer early and detecting breast cancer. And they've got approvals from FDA for doing this. So that could fundamentally change the way we look at the world when something like that. I mean, it's an Indian company. I think Dr. Geeta Manjunath is the founder, based out of Bangalore. So I'm just saying that early detection was one big bucket. So if you can detect diseases early, health conditions early, you can help patients improve. That's one bucket. I will just talk about one more bucket, and then, because there's so many things AI is helping on, helping doctors make better decisions, right? So you're doing surgery, you're halfway through, let's say you're using robotics and you're doing surgery, you're in the midst of a surgery and you see a problem, right? And this problem the medical school did not teach you about, or maybe they taught you and you weren't attentive then. So at that point, you just feel, if somebody could help me how to move forward, that'll be great. But you're the expert, you're the knowledgeable person, you have done thousands of surgery, but you've seen a brand new problem. This kind of a place, AI can come up with a suggestion saying, when you're here, 90% chances are an approach of this nature would be more successful on this patient. That's something that AI can help you with at the critical moment. And it can be instantaneous at the moment when you need the help, because even if you want to get another human being to come and help you, they will take time to absorb what's going on. So better decision making for doctors. I'm taking an extreme case for a robotic surgeon, but there are 10 places where this AI can help you with better decision making. It's like you're driving the car, whether you want to turn right or left. Google will give you a point of view saying you can go this way, or some other AI based app will give you an idea. So you still need to make your decisions of how you're going to go, but this getting this information saying that you will reach 8 minutes faster if you take this route will help you make decisions, right? So that applies in healthcare too. So these are two big areas where I see early diagnosis of health conditions and better decision making for doctors are two areas AI can unbelievably help in the next 5 to 10 years, and it could just take this whole thing to. So already the number of years we live healthily has improved significantly, and we have seen that in our, if you look at your parents and grandparents, and before that you get to hear the stories, you see that, and so that will improve significantly thanks to AI.
Hey, thanks, Gopi. In fact, I'll be very thrilled to subject myself for a robotic surgery. I don't know whether I'll be living.
I will, George, take you to a robotics hospital soon. We have top-notch ones in Chennai. I'll take you there, and I'm sure you don't need it in the surgery, but you can at least experience how it's done. It's a great technology, and it'll be great to do. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure interacting with all of you. Thanks a lot, and we'll stay in touch even after this call.
Thank you, Gopi, for all your insights. It was amazing having you here. So, a virtual applause.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
May I, sir? Hello, sir.
Yes.
Gopi, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm Angel, MCA department head, sir.
Okay.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thank you. Actually, thank you for this session, sir. I thank all the expert committee members for giving us such a wonderful information, sir. Thank you so much for your Industry Institute collaboration also. Thank you so much. And again, today we got a very wonderful insight about artificial intelligence, sir. Hope we will start our academic curriculum and even the skill training towards this artificial intelligence. Thank you so much for being a source of inspiration. And I thank all the panel members, sir, for spending your valuable time with us and discuss all these things. Thank you so much. And thank you for your industry collaboration once again, sir. Accepting our request and joining your hands with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Angel. Is that Angel?
Yeah.
Thank you, Angel. Thanks a lot. In fact, I
All
don't
right.
know whether we have completed it. In fact, Gopi is leaving, and I wanted to just probably Pratik and Swami to respond to that question, and then we will close the session as well.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I actually, I couldn't join on time. That's why I just joined here, sir.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Thanks. Pratik and Swami, you can respond to this, the application of AI, and then probably one more thing that I want to add to that is what can go wrong with AI. Probably if you can, the application of AI and what can go wrong sometimes. So probably you can include one more thing, and then we will close the session. Thank you.
Yes, Swami, do you want to go first? So this you're asking about AI replace manpower. This question, right?
No.
Which
The replacing manpower is already responded. I was asking what are some of the application of AI. I'm sure that something which is really going on nowadays in terms of some even futuristic trends and things in terms of application of AI, and what can go wrong with AI.
So a lot of things can go wrong with AI if you are not training it on right data sets. But future application which I am seeing, which are very good, which are good for human society, are especially on healthcare side, like what Gopi mentioned about Nirmai AI. So I know Geeta ma'am as well. She's amazing and she's doing great work, especially on cancer diagnostic side. We work with Siemens for some pathology kind of imaging projects wherein they want to detect early biomarkers on pathology images. I told you about the climate stuff, analyzing the supply chain and predicting, whether this product which you're using is climate friendly or not. So these are some really good applications, especially nowadays. Swami mentioned ChatGPT, but in general, generative AI is picking up a lot now. And there are some really good applications of generative AI as well. ChatGPT is just one of them, but on image side as well, there are some really good applications.
Okay. So in fact, I mean, generative AI is, and they are building a lot of applications based on ChatGPT. In fact, I was telling the other day, if you are traveling to some place, there is an app which, you need to save you're traveling to this place and from which date to which date. It will give you, it will generate an itinerary for you. I was like thrilled to see that, and it's excellent. Yeah, go ahead, Swami. What is your take on this?
Yeah, so probably I'll touch base on two areas because healthcare has been quite covered already. So one is in the field of education. What is actually going to come up is a lot of things, right? Video analytics is going to come big time, both in the K-12 education market and as well as in the higher ed market. There is going to be a lot of changes in the way the curriculum is going to be framed. So when that change comes through, the AI tools will pick up on the one front is teaching assistant. So teaching assistant, you already have a lot of videos and content like that. Personalized learning is already picking up in some level, but it's going to become better. But more than just the learning part, the assessment part, the market that we are looking at is assessment is one of the most sought after areas in terms of where AI can come and play a role, and the complexity or the time that it actually saves is really huge. So these are two very, very major areas in the education domain that we are actually seeing. In agri, apart from this, in agri, agri is probably arguably the most advanced place in AI implementation. That's what I would say during my observation, because you have now satellite imaging that can tell you which part of your field is less irrigated or has less moisture content.
Excellent. I think we've lost Swami.
Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. We lost.
So from an application, you can see which part of your field is not irrigated and which part has lesser moisture content or humidity and so on and so forth. And then you can irrigate your field or I'm talking about thousands of acres at one point in time, not 1 acre or 2 acres, right? So that saves a lot of money, and these kind of different applications to look at the disease direction in agri. Say if you have 100 square kilometer farm, and if you don't detect the disease in 10 minutes, right, or 10 days, then it's going to impact probably 100 hectares of your crops. So how fast can you detect will save again a lot of money. Then I will post one of the problems that is actually faced by one of the very big agricultural produce company, is that in detection of disease in chickens, in the not the I'm saying the chicks, so the small ones which are like 1 day 2 day born, because these are produced in, you will have like 5,000 chicks and 10,000 chicks in a day that are actually born and then or hatched. Now, if one chick has a fever, in 3 hours, the 5,000 is gone. It gets infected. So now, how do you isolate and remove or probably cut down something so that you can minimize your loss? This is a problem statement of a very, very big, I can't tell which company it is, but a very big multi-billion-dollar company which is on the agri side. And they lose a few $1 million every month on this across different countries. So why this problem statement might sound silly, it's very, very significant. The reason is you don't have time to go and geotag each and every, put a tag in each and every chick's leg. You don't have the time to do that. You don't have the cost, because they ship very fast. They go out very fast and are being given to the farmers. So there's a very, very small window of timeline, and you cannot do facial tagging on chicks because all of them look almost the same. So there's quite a bit of challenge, very, very great challenges to look at. One of the other challenges that I will also tell about is which is faced by the Tamil Nadu Smart City program. If you go and speak to, maybe from the college end, you can speak to Raj Chabbar, who's the CEO of Chennai Smart City. And his problem is he has a budget of 5 lakhs. Now he is asking, which are the potholes that I should fill first so that it can ease traffic congestion?
Excellent.
Right? This is his problem. I have 10 lakhs, boss, or 5 lakhs. Now you tell me which potholes should I fix first? Which is best or most optimal to fix first so that it leaves traffic congestion in the city.
The pothole in my house.
So what happens today is the road contractor guy will come and tell, sir, we will do the one in Triplicane, or we will do the one here, and we will do one there, and he is the best judge of where traffic is in the city. So now there are a lot of solutions like this actually needed. Where we can go wrong is, for example, for exactly this same solution, if your model predicts wrongly, then you will be filling potholes which are not required to be filling. So you have to still substantiate why we are doing this, right? Same way with agri, if you are going and irrigating a field which is already irrigated well, then your crops are going to decay. So which is a financial loss. So like any other human, we have not reached singularity with respect to AI. We are still scratching the surface in terms of how if we tell it something to do a very monotonous job, it can do. That's the range at which we are. I wouldn't take too far saying, okay, we are somewhere and like we are flying in cloud 9 and all those things. We are still in baby steps. We're just still in the the basement of the floor. So we're not even there. So what can go wrong is quite a bit, as Pratik also mentioned, that if the data is wrong, or even if we think the data is right, if there is insufficient data, then there will be a lot of challenges, a lot of problems that will be caused by AI. But opportunities, as I said, if I can talk for another 5 minutes, I will give you another 5 challenges which are faced by the industry and for which they need a solution. So, one simple solution, one simple ask was, how do you observe? I'm in education. I'm having a class. I'm say teaching a class. Now, can you tell me how many of my students are interested in the class, and how many are not? How many are keenly observing? How many are playful? am I creating interest in the class? Because this is being taught by a human, and every human has a different style. And if there are 30 children in the class, 30 children in the class, one is a kinesthetical learner, one is a say auditory learner, one is a learner who will actually learn from projects, so on and so forth. Now, can AI help here? Can we put a camera in the class? We already have cameras, but can we analyze the class at runtime and then tell a feedback to the teacher saying that, madam, the class is very bored, can you change to a different example? Could we do that? So these are kind of challenges or questions that is being problems that is being thrown, and very interesting, because with the advent of 5G, all of you know, I think whoever uses Airtel has already got 5G in Chennai, and if you have 5G, then this can be processed real time in a cloud. So we're not talking about after 5 years. We're talking about the opportunity right now, and which is very, very cool.
Thanks, Swami. In fact, Pratik has already left. In fact, I would want to actually say thanks to him as well, but then I think he's already left. He's gone for another meeting. Well, I think we will close this panel discussion. Thank you so much, Swami, Pratik, and Gopi. I think it was a kind of a wonderful discussion. I learned a lot from this panel discussion as well. Thanks a lot. Over to Bhavani.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Wonderful session. This 1.5 hours will not be enough to speak about AI, so we'll keep continue having a discussion about AI. I would like to thank all the speakers for joining this session. I would like to thank Francis Xavier Engineering College for all their support and for this wonderful session. Hope students had a good session and will continue to do the same. I would also like to thank Mrs. T. Angeline Ranjitam, HOD Department of MCA Francis Xavier Engineering College, for all her support for organizing this wonderful session. Thank you once again, everyone. We'll keep continuing doing the session like the same under Mr. George Koshi's leadership. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.